All right, Ricky here with Breaking Your Barriers on our segment Hanging Out with Local Heroes. And today's local hero is actually one of my buddies. So it is an amazing, amazing honor. Now, there's some things on here that I didn't even know about my friend, which is awesome to learn. Now, first and foremost, my brother over here, he's been married for 24 wonderful years. He has two amazing adult children, and he also works for a nonprofit organization as a marketer. Some things I didn't know. My brother here is a drummer. I did know because we were both in the same class. He's an amazing actor. And one thing that really just touched my heart was my brother said, Ricky, you know what I love? I love your segment, which is that hanging out with local heroes and breaking your barriers. So that really touched my heart. Now, buddy, you're located in what state again?
So I'm in Arkansas.
My brother here is from Arkansas. Now, he is touching lives over there. He is definitely an amazing addition to the community. And the reason I bring this up is because he's all the way in Arkansas, but during some of the toughest times in my life, my friend here was here for me. This brother is genuinely an amazing individual. Now, I can go on for hours just talking about the man, but he's probably going to shut off the Zoom and say, "Hey, Ricky, you need to cut, hey, let's move on, bud." That being said, it is amazing having you on here, brother. And I just want to say, Clint, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Ricky. It's the privilege is totally mine. One thing I did want to mention, yeah, I've looked at some of the content that you do, and it's just fantastic. I mean, you are out every day working to encourage people, to give them great tips and to educate people and just to inspire. And I mean, your life is an inspiration. So you need to know that.
I appreciate that, brother. Have you? I'm just curious. I know you've seen some of the hanging out with local heroes. Did you actually check out some of the RL, the humanitarian homie?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so you saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they're so cool. And you also got content on like technical stuff, helping with tips and stuff like that. I mean, it's amazing because that stuff is not easy to do. I mean, it takes a lot of work and time and insight, and you're doing that to help other people. I think that's super.
Thank you, brother. Well, today's about you, my friend. And the reason I kid you not, I'm genuinely honored is because you know what I'm going to say with regards to the toughest times in my life, which was very recent. You've been there for me. Even that what you consider just minuscule, such as just reaching out and just saying, Ricky, how you doing? That that was magical. That was huge. It helped me get through some of the toughest times I've had to go through in this past 2 months. And I gotta say, I love you, brother, for that. Really appreciate you.
Well, I love you
But
too. I'm so thankful, that we've been in class together. We get to know each other, and we got to be
yeah,
friends. So yeah, you're a blessing.
feelings mutual. I'm not trying to get into the, what do you call that, emotional prep moment, but I really do. I just have that genuine genuine love and respect for you, bud. But today I just want to share your story because you mentioned something before we started recording, which is you have a love for people, and it shows through and through. It is so obvious because everybody in class, and I guarantee you, everybody out of class loves you just the same way as I do, as well as the rest of the group, because you are an amazing individual. I'm just curious, brother, who were your heroes and how did you end up being this amazing friend and amazing dude?
Oh, well, that's a big intro. I sure appreciate it. Um, yeah, it's funny, I mean, kind of who we are shaped by so many different things. I mean, I think one of the things I guess just I've had is my personality. I'm pretty introverted, though I'm kind of an ambivert, I guess, kind of an in between, because yeah, I mean, I get recharged by being by myself typically, and just kind of relaxing and stuff like that. But I love being with people, and it's just so much. There's so many great things that you can learn about people just by spending time with them. Everybody has a story, and it's so often just fascinating just to learn different people from different regions, different backgrounds, education, whatever. They've just got um, different stories that can enrich us. You know, if we listen to those and engage with them that way. And it's funny because that is kind of the whole, foundation, I guess, of acting, the stuff that
Yep.
we've been doing together. But yeah, I mean, I was, and I've been very blessed to have a very loving family. Not everybody has that. Grew up in a two-parent home. Parents, were very loving and nurturing. Um, and had a good childhood. I mean, no childhood is perfect, but yeah, I am, as you can easily tell, I'm one of those goody two shoes kids. I hated getting in trouble as a kid, so I worked hard not to do anything wrong, and for the most part, that worked out okay. I probably spared myself some pain, but but yeah, so that and probably the thing that's been, well, not probably, the thing that has been central in my life is my faith. Because I became a Christian, became a believer in high school, and have tried to grow, in my faith. And a central part of that is loving people. Um, and I do okay at that some, not all the time. I find that I'm pretty selfish. I will admit a lot of times, but just the call to love people is pretty important. And and yeah, I mean, I'm like you had mentioned, the acting school being at Hood. Those people are just so fantastic, and the community is just so wonderful. Um, so yeah, I found a lot of great relationships there. Um, but let's see, I'll talking about family, stuff like that. So yeah, you'd mentioned I've been married 24 years. This coming May will be 25, so it's a big number. She has not left me yet, so we're still still trying to keep that record going. Um, yeah, and I've got two incredible kids. My son is 22. He graduated school this past summer, got married like a month after, and then like a couple weeks after that moved to Florida. so they so he's not, not slowing down. He's in a hurry to get on with life. So they're doing great in Florida. His wife actually works at Disney, so
Oh,
she's
wow.
a Disney intern, or an engineering intern at Disney. So really cool stuff. Um, and my daughter is 18. She's a freshman at a university here in Arkansas.
Nice.
Um, so we have, yeah, I mean, I think we've had a good family life. I mean, we're not wealthy, never had that, issue with just what to do with too much money. Just never been a problem for us. But but yeah, just a sweet family. I'm just very blessed with my family, and just have had the opportunity to watch kids grow up and do activities with them. And so yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess.
Well, that in a nutshell is pretty amazing because the thing is, regardless of you not growing up with the same background I have and having to be tough and having to get over and learn new things and realize that, hey, there's something more to life, you didn't get stuck where you were. You wanted to learn about different cultures. You wanted to learn about different people. You wanted to put yourself out there. Regardless of you being an introvert, it took courage for you to become Clint the actor as well as Clint, the person who is just working for this amazing nonprofit that you're working on and raising these two amazing kids. 24 years. My goodness, that would be 24 relationships here in LA. So you're genuinely you're an amazing dude, and ever since I've met you from the first day, I've always liked you. I was like, I like this guy. Ever since we've worked together, from our repetitions to everything, I've always like there's something about you. There's this light about you that really shines, and that's one thing I'm so proud to have you here, is because you are genuinely a light for other people, especially those who are introverts. How did you get over being an introvert, and how did you fight past the demons that would plague anybody and stop them in their tracks?
It's a great question. It, yeah, I think it's been a variety of things. I guess there has always been kind of that interest in other people. Um, even though maybe as an introvert you don't like to be around them all the time, or talk a lot, or things like that. But I've always been interested in people, and um, I've some people have bents. They lean different ways, and for me, it's always been the creative bent. So as a child, I grew up drawing and painting, and doing little sculptures and things like that. And yeah, and in high school, it's funny because my older brother was a drummer. So he was a drummer in marching band, like in middle school. And when he went off to college, he left his kit with him. And just one day in high school, like I had been playing air drums, all the time. And I just decided to pull his kit out one time, and I set it up in my room, and and that's how I started. I just started to play what I heard, along with the radio. Took a few lessons kind of here and there, but mostly just play by ear. But yeah, I think it's the creative stuff, and it's kind of that there is some sort of a performance thing, in there that wants to come out. Like everybody has stuff that needs to come out, and they need to have an outlet for that energy. Um, and as a kid, I did plays and things like that. So I don't know. I think a lot of that is really what helps to kind of bring you out of that introversion, and to make connections. And another great way really is to when you look around you, there are always people that need you, that need your encouragement, or your friendship, or whatever. And me too. and and so taking advantage of those opportunities and building friendships and building those connections, and it really just opens the world up to you, and makes it so much more fun and more fulfilled and more valuable. I mean, we are not created here to be alone. We're created here to be together. So
That is an amazing that's an amazing answer, brother. That's all I got to say. And I love the fact that you're sharing the balance, because we need a balance in our life. So when you talked about it being an outlet, releasing your energy onto something that you're passionate about, that's so heavy, because we need that. And you even shared about faith, and I do thank God for everything that has come into my life, both good and bad, because I wouldn't be the person I am today without him. What would be your first step for folks who are introverts introverts and need a little bit of advice? What advice would you give them?
yeah, that's great. Well, it's interesting because it's a different world than from when I grew up. We didn't have this awesome technology. Um, uh, so so I think one of the great things that you can do now, as far as baby steps, is pick a platform. Maybe that's Facebook, maybe it's Instagram, TikTok, uh, you could be in a Slack community or whatever. There's so many different platforms. LinkedIn, I don't know if I said that one, for professionals mainly, but you can share content. Maybe it's a written post, maybe it's a short video or whatever. But all of that, I mean, it takes courage, it takes boldness to do, but you can do all of that without standing in front of an audience, or being surrounded by 100 people. You do it in the privacy of your home, but you are getting out there, and you are, sharing your insights, or your hopes, your dreams, your failures, your successes, whatever. You're sharing yourself and engaging with other people, and that does not have to be face to face. I mean, it can get there, but you can share that through written word, through video, picture, all that stuff. So that, I think, is a great way to dip your foot in the water and to get started. And then who knows, you may like it, and may end up having your own talk show.
Thank you, brother. And what's amazing about what you said is, I personally believe we need to be risk takers. We need to definitely experiment. That's the only way we're going to find out if we like something or not. If we experiment or give it a try, see what happens. And if it's for you, then move forward. If it's not, then find something else, because you're a perfect example of that. You are an absolute perfect example. For those of you who are actual producers, directors, or looking to get a movie in place, get this brother right here. He's perfect for a president. He's perfect for an amazing politician. Not a crooked one, but he's in acting class, so he can act like a crooked one, because he is a deep brother. So if you need a fantastic actor, that's my brother right there. At the same token, he's a perfect example of taking a massive leap through faith, because he is in acting right now. And acting takes ridiculous vulnerability, being in front of people and crying, being angry, being sad, and all the things. So my man doesn't only preach, he also is living proof of his tips as well as his possible techniques for you. So if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling genuinely introverted as well as nervous and shy, listen to this post multiple times. Look at my brother right here. Introvert, but my goodness, you got to see him as an actor. This dude will blow you away.
You're too kind.
Oh, I'm just saying it like it is, my man. We're in class together, so I get to experience it. I've seen what you've done to that luggage.
Got to be real. Got to make it real.
What was one of the most challenging or most difficult times, I'd say, either in your childhood or young adult life?
This is emotional prep. I'm gonna start crying, right? So yeah, seriously. Yeah, probably one of the most difficult times, and I've been very blessed. Compared to many people, I've not had the struggles that many others have had. I'm grateful for that. But one of the toughest times is, and I was an older teenager at the time, but my parents split up, and it was a complete shock, because for some reason I was under the illusion that we were like a very Leave It to Beaver kind of a close family like that. And there were just some things that were not obvious that I was not aware of, but it basically just rocked my world. And it happened right as I was leaving. I just left for college, actually. So it was my freshman year of college, trying to adjust to, a new life in college. And I get the call, that my parents were splitting up or whatever. And it was devastating. And it was very difficult, but I'm glad that over time, my parents both ended up remarrying. They both remarried wonderful people. So I've had a great relationship with all four of them as I've become an adult and and kind of grown through that. But yeah, so I would say that was a pretty challenging time.
How did you overcome that obstacle in your own life and raise your kids the way you did and still be married after 24 amazing years? What was it that you did differently, or what was it that you learned from that very painful experience?
Well, yeah, and I wish I could say that I've everything's been perfect, in my own life. Of course it's not, but yeah, I think the biggest thing was that one, you get to choose um your future for the most part. I mean, you can't make the choice of your spouse, of your partner, but you get to choose your reactions and how you make decisions and handle life. And yeah, for me, divorce was never an option, was never an opportunity, and it's important to decide that early on. Um, uh, yeah, one of the things I thought about seeing on Facebook, one celebrity I think had recently gotten divorced, and and it was just for after a very short marriage that like the glitter had kind of worn off or whatever. And it's sad because that's not what marriage is.
No.
We all have relationships and have the butterflies and the tingly feelings and all that, but a real relationship is far deeper than that. Those feelings go away. I mean, they frankly, they go away. Now they may take different forms and all of that, but you can't build a marriage on those feelings. It's about commitment, and it's about sacrifice. Really, you're not going to get your way um, all the time. You may be needing to give up a lot for the other person, and it's all about that kind of stuff. It's about working toward being less selfish and more selfless, serving, all these things. And I mean, I mean, after almost 25 years, I've still got a long way to go and a lot to learn. Um, because yeah, if we had my wife on the call, she might be able to show, point out some some things that I could do better, but fortunately she's not. So but um yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect, but ultimately it's about you taking responsibility for your own life and doing what you can to hold that relationship. So yeah.
Well, you wanted with the perfect mindset. Divorce was never and will never be an opportunity or an option. So you already went in with a powerful mindset, not that of what if then, maybe. You didn't go in with any of those. You went in with full commitment, knowing what you're possibly getting into, because you don't know what's gonna take place. You don't know how she's gonna change or how you're gonna change as the relationship progresses. So I love that mindset. And after nearly 25 years, brother, I gotta ask you, what do you do to keep that flame going? What do you learn about one another, or what activities do you do? How do you handle your fights? Things of that nature, because everything changes after that long.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think one of the keys is just to keep communicating. Um, and that's an area that I am not as great as I'd like to be on, but yeah, I mean, communication, just, I mean, be patient. Patience is huge, and taking initiative, go do things together. Um, all of those things. I mean, just like, it's not I like the term, it's not rocket surgery. it's, it's it's pretty simple. It's any kind of relationship you'd want. It's that type of thing that you do. I mean, you talk to people, you talk to them, you spend time with them, you care about them, you help them. All those things applies to marriage. So yeah, I mean, the problem is when things just kind of get cold and you both shut down, and that's when you're in trouble. But it's working, it's intentional. You have to be intentional about working against that. Maybe it's finding a fun activity that you like to do together. Maybe it's just walking or hiking or playing a sport, or something like that. But it's those types of things that are really are critical to to have a healthy relationship. Usually it's just life stuff. It's when you're a parent, you've been a parent this long, your life tends to revolve a lot around your kids. So we're still very engaged, even though our son's married.
Right.
Very engaged with him, and helping him kind of get his career off and running, and maybe they'll start a family one day. I'm hopeful, but regardless, um, it's my work, her work, but even interest stuff. I can share some things about acting.
Right.
Um, we have dogs, so we can talk about dogs. Um, um, so all that kind of stuff. I mean, it can kind of build on itself. You don't have to find new things to talk about every day, every time. So
That's right. So you, the most important thing is you've got to just definitely be proactive in your relationship. You can't just let it, whatever happens, happens today. I think I think that's important because most people they lose that sense of communication after all of the glitter and everything goes away. The relationship I thought you were actually talking about was the Kardashians.
oh,
They're always getting married every other week or something.
it probably could apply.
Could apply, definitely. I've got a new name for you, Clint. I mean, other than Mr. President, because
Oh,
you could easily play those parts. My new nickname for you, brother, is the relationship whisperer, and people need to hear this story. What is your last piece of advice with regards to having a solid relationship or starting a new relationship?
I think one thing that I've learned, heard many times is it's really true. And I think it's as simple as this. If you go out to start a relationship or whatever to benefit someone else, rather than benefit yourself, you're way ahead of the game. So if it's, whether it's being a friend, a lot of people say, I just, I can't find any friends anywhere, nobody's, nobody's friendly, blah, blah, blah. Well, that may be, but if you are out trying to intentionally befriend other people and, talk to them, share with them, encourage them, all those things, then finding friends will be far easier. So it's I think as simple as go out to give rather than to receive, because once you build those relationships, you will receive in full. I mean, you will receive much, but don't let that be your motivation.
That's right. Thank you, brother. I've got nothing but love for Oh my gosh, our relationship whisperer. This is literally this is my brother from another mother. I love this dude. And if you get a chance, definitely listen to this. If you make it to this part, this ending right now, watch this video again. My brother's got so many bits of wisdom that he shares with regards to relationships, as well as overcoming your challenges, being introverted, and how to develop new relationships by putting out that kind of energy because it's going to be reciprocated to you. Whatever energy you put out, it'll be reciprocated to you. Clint, love you, brother, and thank you for being on Hanging Out with Local Heroes.
Love you, Ricky. Man, it's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Thanks, brother. Changing one life at a time. We'll see you on the next episode.